is the chief academic. Thank you. I forgot.
It was Hugo.
It's Hugo, good job. I got the reminder on my phone. I got it right here and I did not remember. Oh, well, all the important things are happening now. That it is being recorded. All right. So we have a new chief academic integrity officer, Professor Tamika Battle, but also working in conjunction with her is proposed a new academic integrity committee. And we are making it, we're going to create it as an ad hoc committee, not because it's not permanent, hopefully, but because it still needs to formulate its mission and vision and roles and those kinds of statements. Once it's more established, then we will, at its request, transition it to a permanent, a standing committee of the Senate. So that is our next agenda item, is creating the academic integrity committee. Academic integrity for you students is plagiarism and cheating, that's the negative side of it. So complaints that would come from faculty, the committee would work to investigate complaints, especially when students disagree. Students say, deny them, say, no, I did not commit academic integrity. That's what then that committee would step up and investigate those academic integrity complaints. They'll also play a supporting role in educating the campus on academic integrity and do other work around that. So that is the purpose of the committee. We need a motion. The motion would be, I move to create the ad hoc academic integrity committee, and a second. Would someone like to, a student can move, you say, I move to create the ad hoc academic integrity committee. Any senator?
I move to create the ad hoc academic integrity committee.
Elizabeth moved. Any second?
I second.
Mehedi seconds. So is there any discussion? Patricia.
Elizabeth gets first choice.
Oh, Elizabeth gets first choice. Thank you. Do you want to say anything about it, Elizabeth?
Oh, no, but it sounds like a very good committee, especially with AI.
Okay, sounds good. Patricia.
I have a question about what's the difference between the academic integrity and the academic standing?
Academic, it's a good question. The chair of the academic standing committee is right here among us. I would love to let you answer that question. Would you like to answer that question?
My understanding is that academic standing creates policy, whereas academic integrity, we enforce of policy. We don't enforce, we create, review, revise. That is actually things, considerations, etc. My understanding would go to the academic integrity.
Thank you. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Yep, very good. Other comments, Luke?
And I only asked because I was on the working group for student conduct and academic integrity. My understanding was that this committee is being created to mirror academic appeals.
Yes, you are correct. That is part of it. The Academic Appeals Committee is the committee that takes grade appeals. When students appeal to have their grade changed, that committee, made up mostly of faculty, I believe, investigates and makes a decision about grade changes in response to student appeals. So that committee has been a subcommittee of the Academic Standing Committee with the revised governance plan, which should be almost nearly ready to be submitted to the Board of Trustees. We have moved it out of Academic Standing Committee and made it its own. We'll be making it its own committee just because it doesn't function under the authority. Academic Appeals and the Academic Integrity Committee both do application of implementation of academic policies that are created by the Academic Standing Committee. So
That answered the question, because you mentioned that academic integrity would be its own committee, whereas right now appeals is not.
and appeals is any moment now going to be. So yes, soon.
Okay.
That's part of the plan.
One other question.
Yes.
Do we know when, pending the approval at today's meeting, when the transition is expected to happen and who's handling academic integrity complaints? For right now, is it still the student judiciary?
So currently, two things. Currently, academic integrity complaints are being handled, I believe, by the new academic Chief Academic Integrity Officer. That, I have to say that phrase so many times, but Tamika Battle, I believe, is handling them. Vice President Alexis McLean has been handling them herself before this. So I believe that Tamika Battle is handling it now, but, after we have created the committee, I, in my role as chair of Senate, will be naming the chair of that committee. I've already spoke with someone who has agreed to take on the initial chairperson role of that committee, who will then work with, hopefully, the committee on committees of the Senate and Tamika and Alexis to constitute the committee, to get it populated and to begin its work. So, but we need to create the committee first. Any other questions or comments? Jeannie,
How big of a committee are you hoping this?
not my hope, but the initial plan is a few faculty members, 2 or 3, and then a couple of members of student affairs, and a student, hopefully. So that's the initial plan, but again, can be more developed as the committee begins its work. So we are only, we're going to create the committee and then name a chair if you all approve. Yes, Luke.
Last question. So the academic integrity officer, Professor Battle, is not going to be the chair of the committee?
No, the academic integrity officer, and this is part of the CUNY policies and procedures. Yes, it is. For academic integrity, is that the chief academic integrity officer works parallel and in support, but should not be on the committee. The committee is going to be making determinations in parallel with, the roles complement each other. But I have been told that the CUNY policy is the chief academic integrity officer does not serve on the committee. Oh, no, what did we do? Jeannie,
This is a question for clarification. I don't understand the role of the chief integrity officer versus the committee.
the chief academic, and this is my rough understanding, and I am attempting to not be an expert in this, but my understanding is chief academic integrity officer takes all the complaints and then determines what happens next with them. When there are ones that need investigation, that goes to the committee.
Like a screening.
Screening and management, I mean, overall management. So it is a leadership role, but again, these bodies are newly created at LaGuardia, these entities, so they will have a hand in in working out their function. But what's been proposed is to parallel or to follow CUNY recommendations and policies for academic integrity. Roman?
So do I understand correct? So to be on this committee, you don't have to be part of the Senate.
No, you do
can
not have to be part of the Senate. No. So most of the Senate committees do not require senators membership. There's a few Senate committees where only senators can be members, but not most of them. So, however, it's a Senate committee so that Senate still has some oversight just to make sure the committee is functioning, a place to give its reports, that kind of thing. Any other questions? So we are ready for a vote. We have a motion and a second. The motion again is to approve the creation of the ad hoc committee on academic integrity. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Thank you, Luke. One opposed, the rest are in favor. The committee is created. The chair of the committee, I'm naming as Jason Schaefer, professor in humanities, right? Jason Schaefer, who was part of the working group and has agreed to be to serve as chair of the committee. Two informational items. If hopefully you read your email, informational item number 1. The curriculum committee had an item for our review that does not require a Senate vote. It was in your email. It was what do you call that? What do you call it? Do you remember what it was? The articulation agreement, and articulation agreement allowing those who are majoring in urban sustainable agriculture or something like that to transfer to Brooklyn College. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yes. So if hopefully you read that information in your email, it does not require a vote, but it is for our information. Any questions about that? Most elements of the curriculum require our approval, but this one doesn't, with an information item. The second information item is an important one. Well, that was not unimportant, but the second information item is an item, and maybe I might share my screen with you. The Senate approved in May a document that will eventually be part of the college governance plan called Duties and Elections of Department Chairperson. Listing out or laying out what the responsibilities are of the chairs of academic departments. Our provost, Billy Gastic Rosado, looked at it after we approved it and had some suggestions, which we have, do not change the substance of the document, make it a little clearer, a little more responsive to Senate concerns, including adding the term "and staff," so that the department chairperson is responsible not just for their faculty, but for staff as well, which the Senate is absolutely support of, and that's in harmony with what the Senate wants to prioritize. The other change is, and the more major change is, we are responding to what will likely be the revised bylaws of CUNY, which I mentioned at the last meeting. I was on the committee that worked at responding to EVC Hensel, the University Provost Hensel's proposed changes to the bylaws. This is what we have recommended, and it is now in the bylaw revisions that are with the Board of Trustees, waiting for their approval. It is clearer wording regarding the role of department chairs in establishing a schedule of classes each semester. So I've recommended that we update what was originally proposed was the previous wording of the CUNY bylaws in that area. So that's another change. Doesn't change anything really in substance, but is a clearer wording there. And so I hope you had time to look at that document. We don't think the changes warrant a new vote on the document, but I did want to open it up for questions if you had any questions or concerns with the changes to that document. Good. Okay, so it will go together with LaGuardia's revised governance plan, which is in a final proofreading stage. Leslie, who was the chair of the governance plan revision committee, Patricia, who's had a big hand in it, and I are going through the document just as a final proofread. It has will inform President Adams that this document has been updated with our provost recommendations. Then he's awaiting his approval on that. When he approves this document, then we'll be ready to submit the revised governance plan to the Board of Trustees, which is the last step. Any questions? Yes, Anthony.
Just as a point of information, so now, after all of this, if we send this forward, I mean, we're really looking at the governance plans taking effect next October?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
So, which is now, it's taken us, what, 5 years? It's a long time, but yeah, it would have been nice for it to be quicker. But when you're doing something like this, you want it to be done well. So yes, that is the plan. So there is a revised governance plan, but it will not take effect this year. It will go to the Board of Trustees for their approval, and then it will be able to take effect, but especially for the Senate year starts in October. So, this is the first official Senate meeting of the new Senate year, which is the first time you all are here, the new senators ready and able to vote. So, those are the two informational items. We have a short chairs report from me, and then, we move on to, the elections of Senate leadership, which is what we're doing next. Hold on just a moment.
Sorry.
Yes.
Especially of the governance plan taking effect next October, it's our decision. It's a decision because the Board of Trustees, whenever they're going to put it on their agenda and they pass it, if they pass it before.
If they pass it before, it would take effect, but it wouldn't change the terms of senators, or, I mean, the Senate wouldn't change mid-year. That's, I think, the only point. If there are other things, I mean, it would immediately move the appeals committee out from under the academic standing committee. I mean, so there's some
It's
changes.
already out anyway.
There are some changes that could take effect
Yeah.
immediately, but then there's other changes that, like this, one of the changes is that the terms, the Senate, the term for a senator, except for student senators still have a 1-year term, but the term for other senators will move to 3 years, and that can't take effect until October, right? You can't change your term in mid-year, Patricia. But
What? No, it's great, but it's going to be, I mean, I run the election, so thank you for the 3 year.
well, it's not me, it's in there,
No,
so,
I'm happy, yes.
is that fit your
Yeah,
understanding?
no, I was wondering if as soon as the board of trustee votes, boom, it takes effect, that
It will
time.
take effect, but it's not gonna, it can't change mid-year how we're doing things.
Okay, all right.
That was my only point. Which, reminds, oh yeah, no, this is part of my Senate, or part of my chair's report today. One thing I did not make clear enough at our transition meeting, as you caught, because because senators can join by Zoom also, we are required by state to have these meetings recorded. And tonight or tomorrow, I will post the recording on YouTube, which makes me very uncomfortable, since I do most of the talking at these meetings, but so you know, that's happening. If you join the Senate meeting on Zoom and are a senator, you need to have your camera on. So this is a public body governed by New York state laws around public meetings, and senators need to be identifiable. The meeting needs to be open to anyone. The meeting needs to be viewable by the public. And so that's in the way that we're managing that, since we would need to be open to inviting anyone to this meeting, but since we have some people watching on Zoom, if you're just a guest on Zoom, it doesn't matter. But if you're a senator on Zoom, you need to have your camera on so you can be identified. And the recording is posted on our Senate YouTube channel. Please don't look unless you're really interested, because it's just us doing this on a video. Yes.
Just to backtrack on the last thing, I mean, whenever the board approves the governance plan, I think, at least for our intents and purposes, I think the easiest way for us to think about it is really September with the new school year. Like in terms of elections, like who's able to run, who's able to vote, that kind of stuff. I think that would take effect like September, but yes, obviously for the Senate part, October. But other stuff like wouldn't really change before that.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, like, we said civil service can vote certain things, like, certain things like that would take effect in September because that's the new year.
Right. Good. So Senate meetings are recorded and are on YouTube. We would like to take a new photo of the new Senate. And we have 2 date possibilities that I want to mention to you. If you've looked at the Senate website, you'll see a photo of our last year's senators, those who were present in person. If you're on Zoom, you don't get to be in the photo. So we will, it would either be, December 4th would be ideal. December 4th, I think, is going to be a very busy day. Looking at you, John, because there's for faculty and staff, the year-end year-end party festival.
The
Auctions,
The auction and the closing sessions, which are gonna happen earlier, so there's a little bit of overlap.
big day.
It'll be a big day. There are not very many Wednesdays between Thanksgiving and the end of the semester, and this is what happens because of that. So that would be one option. The other option would be at our next meeting to have a photographer come. We'd all gather somewhere, maybe here if this is updated, I don't know, and take a photo that would then go on the Senate website. Do you have a preference between, the advantage of December is there's a little more time to prepare and to everybody show up. November is also a possibility. Our next meeting is November 13th. Thoughts?
Question. Would it be during the actual meeting or? would it be-
during the actual meeting.
Okay, so I was gonna say, I can't come before.
Yeah, we would set up a time for the photographer to come. We would interrupt the meeting and all gather along a wall somewhere, take a photo, and then get back to finishing the meeting. So, any preference?
Let's do it today.
Today. What was that? December?
Yeah, we think we should do it today because there's a lot of us here.
There are a lot of us here, but I didn't talk to a photographer and they don't like to just show up,
Yeah.
right? So let's do it on, we have a lot to do today, right? Depending on how it all turns out. So, let's plan on December 4th for a photo of Senate. So if you want to be in the photo, show up. December 4th. December 4th for a meeting for a photo for Senate. One more reminder, for this Senate year, we are trying a different method, or we're updating our method of voting so that if the senator is online, which does not count for quorum, and the alternate is in person, which does count for quorum, we are going to prioritize the alternate as the voting member. So senators online will not vote unless the alternate is not present, and then we want your constituency to be represented. So, do you know how many students we have today? Jill's counting. We'll come back to that. Senators in the room, senators are prioritized for voting always. Alternates in the room, if the senator is online, the alternate in the room gets to vote. And we will.
11 senators, one alternate in person, one alternate online, and
SGA, which does not count towards, so the 11 senators, hooray, students, thank you for being here, that's wonderful. The 11 senators vote, the one alternate does not vote. It's great that you're here, one alternate, because very often it's not all 11 students will show up, so alternates should prioritize coming just as much as senators. But today we have a wonderful turnout of students. Keep it up. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Then last, at our next Senate meeting on November 3rd, President Adams will come to do a presentation on a draft of the strategic plan. For you students, the college operates under a strategic plan that is renewed every 5 years. That just sets the priorities for what the college cares about and wants to emphasize. So there's been work undergone since last spring on this strategic plan. President Adams will present a draft at Senate on November 13th. November 22nd, which is the following Friday, there'll be an open house for all of the college community to come and give more feedback on the draft strategic plan. At the December 4th meeting, President Adams will return with a more final version of the strategic plan. Our goal, our purpose as Senate is to give feedback, to listen to the strategic plan and to offer feedback, especially at that early meeting. But we'll also have opportunity in the December meeting to offer any last feedback on the strategic plan. So it's super important that we all are listening in to this work and sharing our thoughts. So, and that is the end of my chair's report. What's next on the agenda are elections for the executive committee of the Senate. We are going to try for the first time ever, Jamie, thank you for being here. We're going to try an electronic method of voting. For those of you who are new senators, you don't know how tedious it is when we use paper ballots and had to wait while they were counted. So we are going to try using Microsoft Forms for the election. The first, and which requires your cell phone and a QR code. You take a photo or you use your camera on the QR code. Welcome. Come on in. There may be a name placard for you, and then you can have a seat. Tell me your name.
Abu Bakr.
Welcome, Abu. Yeah. So go get your name placard and come on in and have a seat. Okay. The first vote we'll take is for chair of Senate. And I am going to nominate myself. Yeah. So are there any other nominations to serve as chair of Senate? I don't think so. I don't hear any. Okay. So, Jamie, are you able to put that QR, to share the screen and put the QR code up there?
Yes, so, I would just ask if it's cool, to probably dim the lights a little bit. 'cause
Yeah.
it's really hard, okay. So, here we go. And there it is.
Sorry, I'll keep trying. Nope. Yeah.
That's better, yeah. Hopefully this will work.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so if you do not have a smartphone with you or it's not working, we have backup paper ballots and
Christie, could you wait just 1 moment? We need just a phone.
oh, yeah. So before we vote, we need to know how many voters there are. It works good. Actually, you can all go ahead and vote, but before we can figure out and let me say, if you are an alternate senator, you can only vote if the senator you, whose seat you share is not present. And I think we have enough students that present that only the student senators can vote today. Alternate student senators don't vote, right? We're gonna tally up the number of voting members we have present. And then if we have more votes than that, they don't count. I'm gonna say one more thing I remembered. The form asks for your name. Your name needs to be included. However, these ballots will remain secret-ish.
I'm not telling anybody.
No, we're not, so it's not gonna be disclosed, but there will be the paper record. You know, if you've ever used Microsoft Forms, it will turn the results into an Excel doc. And Jamie, we'll need that Excel doc. We'll need it printed out, folded up in an envelope, and then it stays as part of the paper record of the college. So that in addition to a teller's report, which will just have the number totals. So you are putting the Senate seat you represent, if it's a student, but go ahead and complete the poll. Yes, Leslie?
Who is the senator in your room? Online versus alternate in your department. Just make sure that everyone knows their role and are we practicing that who's in the room gets priority?
Who's in the room gets priority. Yes. Who's in the room are there any?
So for position, we say Senator or Walton, right?
So for position, for seat, you could say that. I was thinking of just putting in what seat you're in. If you're, so my Senate seat is the English.
But it says your Senate position, that's the question.
Your Senate position. Does it say your Senate position?
Yeah. Yes. No, but just Senator or.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I think it was just intended to be like senator from humanity. Alternate from House.
I remember why
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
But it's just, I don't think it should be.
Right, no, I think that's.
Yeah, that's fine too, yeah.
Normally on the ballot, we just write our name,
Senator,
that's it.
yeah, no, I think it's fine if you put senator on.
This is cool.
Yeah, whole thing is fine, I think
Got a name tag and tell me.
that one is anything goes, we just wanna make sure you're legit.
This will take a little bit while we figure it out.
For the agenda. And then you. Right. Well, we do. Right.
I didn't even know my name. I was like, oh, I don't
Hey, Joe, I think we're taking out like.
It's like 1,000 ways to do it. Right? Yeah.
So we have. Here has a password.
Okay.
What if I was like? That's my name. So usually when you log in, so to this, you should have to register with it. What it should. It should be done with your email when you log in. That's what they check at the end. And.
No, that's not me. I'm not.
Yeah. Like the enrollment, it's like saying. Yeah.
That you can, but actually you can.
Oh, wait.
But like, I don't think you do this, right? Yeah. You would take a list of all the sectors, right? You would send that out, put that in an Excel doc, and then when the results come in, make sure that attendance is in one column and just have it there on the second column, so that you don't have an. Yeah, it would just, it takes time.
John,
It's like long term, it makes so much easier. Yeah, that's it. I believe it. I've seen places that say that. This is one.
I don't want you in the front of the line anymore, Tom.
How did the voting?
Great. All right, we got 33 votes.
How many votes are we supposed to have?
How many meetings?
Andy just left, but he may have, yeah,
He voted, so we should have had 34.
so 34 votes.
Missing one.
We have 32 votes. Did anybody fail to vote? Did I vote? I think I did. So,
Yeah, if you're voting. Yeah.
This one.
what do you mean, nice to meet you? Oh, I thought you were meeting each other. but- Like, wait, how did you not know each other?
I sent your name in an email, so I think it's something I was just saying, but didn't say that.
Oops.
I now can see how many people read it. I mean, my name was obviously.
That's awesome.
This is less tedious than when we had to count all the big ballots, but still tedious to figure out how
Yeah, that's what it's easy. It doesn't even-
I don't think that-
You guys have like, you know, on the top, then you bring them under. So, I was. They're all placeholder.
I like to think about that deadline.
Well, they aren't definitely the number. I feel like I see the number. That,
All right, I'm like, I know I see email from like every day.
that I want. You know.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised you haven't been.
Find somebody else. Someday. Thank you all for your patience.
I just think we'll go sometime.
Oh.
To be honest, I might still do it.
I'll take.
No, I know, but that's what I was. And I just ignore
Totally forgot yeah, but I heard the name of so like under your. Yeah, I didn't guess that. So you. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's on. Yeah.
And it's not on.
Yeah, we're missing.
I have brought John. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting it into a door.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun. I actually like it.
I'm gonna interrupt you. You can see they're up. Legal.
Hey, let's go.
Got it.
We're in, we're done.
All right. So we need someone to announce the results.
Since the committee of election was.
Right.
So the results are, so for ballot number one, position chair of the Senate, number of votes cast 34, number for election of the majority, we need 21 votes. The candidate number one, who was it again? You, it was Patricia. 34 votes.
34 votes. All right, vice chair. We need nominations for vice chair of Senate.
Who's the current vice chair?
Jill has been vice chair of Senate. Self nominations are welcome. Or,
Want to run again?
No, but Jill would like to nominate Leslie.
all right. Now,
Second that.
a nomination received is Leslie Skamaka. Any other nominations for vice chair of Senate? Then nominations are closed. We are gonna do the same thing again, and it will go better.
Yeah.
It's gonna go so much better, guys.
So much better. But believe, this is still way better than counting them. So, when Jamie, who is graciously agreed, alternate Center for the Humanities, there is the screen share of the next ballot. Do the same thing again.
If anybody's having trouble, you can come to my computer and screenshot it here if you want.
I'm good. And your Senate position, I was thinking of the seat that you're in, but alternate would be great too. I mean, alternate or senator and again,
Let's not do it here.
but ultimately it doesn't too much matter.
It's very excited with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is our total?
Total, we got 29 responses.
All right, we need
Probably.
5 more, 5 more responses. Get your phones a working.
Oh, yeah.
I think everyone's.
Yeah.
I mean, I just. But Joey, the fact that it's.
I just want to.
And not gonna complicate your university. It's like.
We got 30 responses.
Has everybody responded?
And I got my,
All right.
Yeah, anybody need?
Did all your voters vote?
Everyone, every single person. Anything in this. Yeah, that's good. Because that's really better. But. So I don't like. I mean, in every case. You know, I just feel like there's a way besides that. There's an argument person, there's the other person. I think that's all I have because. I've done it in like a video. And so it kind of makes sense. Depending on what yeah, so like if you made a complaint, I was the first thing I would do is to kind of- and then I would give anyone who had different things. For all things that. And so like, I would every day, it's an argument, right? No, this is much later. Like much later. So you're gonna have two narcotics. Yeah. Like, no, I started off, and then I went to and then I wound up in there. And so that's when I would trade everyone.
I was thinking about.
I don't know. I think I haven't spoken to them about.
Yeah.
It's much lighter, it's much friendlier, it's much lighter. No. I think the case
And so I really.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, God, look at them working over there.
Yeah, you're the only one.
Usually she and I are on.
Yeah, there's a who said, not submitting their votes.
And it's like, oh, I'm like,
It's important, I will.
All right, so the results for the vice chair, number of votes cast 34, number necessary for election 21. Leslie received 33 votes.
All right, yay. Thank you, Leslie.
No, it was not, somebody didn't get it, otherwise I would have said. Comments on arrival received.
Students, so you know, it gets a little more complicated when we get to the at-large seats for executive committee, but we're now, first, before then, is the Senate secretary. So we need nominations for secretary of the Senate. Leslie.
Right back at you, girl.
Jill Kehoe has been nominated for secretary. Any other
Second.
second for Luke, thank you. Any other nominations for Senate Secretary?
Please, not so fast. I don't know if I'm right.
Hotly contested election, it's got really. Alright.
All right, are you ready? So we have our third vote. As soon as the,
Board ready for those.
oh, no blurbs yet.
Well, the last couple years we haven't done that.
I know.
We'll do it first
Do it.
at large.
People say, why did she be elected?
Do we need it when they're uncontested? That's true.
I lost Percy.
I do it, but not everybody else.
We could have the other at-large folks do it. So you are now voting for Senate Secretary.
That's my guess.
Terrible idea.
You got it done.
Yeah.
A bit of online shopping, all this best. Everything up there.
It doesn't look like,
No, it's, you know, like, it's just like.
For sure, it's just. And that's not. Sure. Like, they were not, I don't, like, it's already.
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of.
Oh, clock that. Oh my God. I can't. I just. Yeah. I know it's good. Yeah, for the. You get, when I were on the training, but they have.
So, students, let me ask you our rate.
Honestly, my computer, I speak a lot.
Oh. To you?
Just kidding. I've been playing on my computer.
I don't say committee is something that will go along. But also, executive committee of the Senate, which I chair, is the meeting that plans the Senate meeting. To serve on that committee. National.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those.
I would say that's like. Or like.
So if you're free on a Monday afternoon and want to represent student concerns on that committee that plans the state. This is, that's what's happening. So it's separate from the chair.
We have 33 votes, we need one more.
It's helpful if the chair.
Like you have to sit there and.
Most important.
Because you know, certain.
For all of those, all three roles. You're good at answering emails. You're good at setting up meetings. You're good at showing. If what happens with Senator and state senators is that this that will become secretary, also one of the many other things. And then we end up being busy and quit showing up for, and this is really important, when you do this stuff, we don't have any. We can't-
Rebecca.
You're doing great right now. So, you're having, gonna have a really busy semester this semester or next semester. Right, I think you want to prioritize. And I'll always wait. Very, very.
It's a small office and it's very large.
So we'll ask students, but also we have more than, oh, yes, our last weeks, we also, there's two, right, at-large seats. There's senators that are not students, we'll have them. Something about yourself, speak to the Senate, why you want to, what you have, right, or say something, and that will help us make our decisions if there's more than two. So that's what's coming next. So, and anyone can run. Yes, who is a senator, I think alternate, I think an alternate could be the chair of the committee, but, executive committee. Experts. So, yes, good, any questions? Questions, Brittany? John. Oh, that's it, yeah. Okay, so we have some. I believe. You submitted. Sophia, then you.
Results for the secretary, number of votes cast, 33, number for the election, received 21, candidate received 0, so we have to start. No, it's 33 unanimous.
Yeah. Thank you, Jill.
I know you.
Yes, one person left. John, the SGA chair, had to go. Do a responsibility.
So that's what.
And we've lost another student. Wait, here she is.
Oh,
Yeah.
so she is with John.
And
John,
there's-
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next is 2 seats for at-large, executive committee members. So these are for any senators that are not students. We'll have 2 seats for students next. First, 2 seats for, 2 at-large seats. So that means any senator, faculty or staff senator, or alumni, who wants to serve on the executive committee. As a reminder, and a reminder for students, which I was just telling you, serving on the executive committee means an extra meeting for every Senate meeting. So the executive committee, one of their main responsibilities is planning the Senate meeting. We meet usually Monday afternoons from 3:30 to 5 on Zoom. So, and it's an important responsibility where you weigh in on decisions that Senate is making about what, our meetings mainly. Okay. Also, there's stuff that sometimes happens in the summer. If something comes up in the summer, when Senate's not meeting, executive committee can make a decision on behalf of the Senate, can stand in for the Senate. So that's the responsibility. Do we have nominations for at-large members of executive committee? Luke,
Nominate Anthony Pappas.
Anthony Pappas.
Second.
Second, thank you.
Don't have a second.
People will.
Yeah, thank you, Les. Thank you, parliamentarian. Other nominations for the 2 seats on the executive committee? Feel free to step up. It's
I'd like to nominate Jeannie Buckley.
oh, Jeannie Buckley, would you accept that nomination?
I'd have to change my work schedule so I can go to the meetings.
You'd have to change your work schedule. So does that mean no, or does that mean you're gonna change your work schedule so you can go to the meetings?
I wasn't prepared for that.
But I mean. I can. Do
All right, so Jeannie Buckley, Anthony Pappas, any other nominations? Luke Cardeo. Third person. I am gonna ask each of you to say a little something for those who don't know you about why you would like to be on the executive committee. Perhaps, Jeannie, you haven't even thought of it, or Luke, until today, but perhaps. Are there any more nominations? So Jamie, in our form, you're putting all 3 names.
Are we explaining?
Yes.
Yeah, would you, I haven't closed the nominations yet. Any other nominations for faculty, staff, or alumni senators? All right, nominations are closed. We have 3 candidates for 2 seats, which means somebody will be a loser, and that's sad, but that is alas, the way of it, right? Thank you for stepping up. Anthony, Jeannie, you want to say something about why you're interested in being on executive committee?
Sure, I mean, I've served on the Senate for many years.
Many years, Anthony.
I don't even know anymore, I had like 20,
20
something like that, not all
Since-
necessarily in a row, but
Since
I
you
think
were
I'm
a
the senior
student.
senator here pretty much now that we've lost a few people.
You are.
So, I mean, I've been on executive committee for a while, I think my experience is helpful to the executive committee, so. If you'll have me, I'm certainly willing to continue, I think Christie and I work well together, and, you know, the rest of the executive committee, we've all been on before, Leslie and Jill, so. I'm happy to contribute.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. Jeannie?
My name is Jeannie Buckley Lockhart. I am a faculty counselor at the Wellness Center. So I bridge the gap between faculty and staff because when I'm a therapist, I'm a staff, and then I have faculty responsibilities. So I do hear the concerns from both sides of the house, and even the students' house, right? Concerns because they talk to me. I also teach LIF, so I hear a lot of concerns there. I've been on the Senate for a long time. I understand how it functions and its priorities. I've worked with the executive committee. I feel I can work well with them.
Great, thank you, Jeannie. Luke?
Hi, everyone. Luke Carpenter. Currently the college's ombuds person, student advocate and student affairs. I actually served on the Senate about, and I'm looking at Anthony because he was there then. It's gotta be 25 years ago. I was actually on the executive committee as a student. So it would be a nice return bookend. So I was a student. I'm currently a staff member, also an adjunct, and teach a variety of courses for a lot of departments. So I have a unique perspective for all 3 cohorts.
I got to observe Luke teach an English 102 class.
Yep.
Years ago. He did it excellent, it was excellent.
Thanks. Compare notes with Patricia Sokolsky.
Who
Because when I first started teaching, she observed me.
Wow.
And she looks like she doesn't remember. So my perspective now is, for the most part, fielding student concerns and student complaints. And working with a variety of stakeholders across the community to resolve concerns and issues. So that's the kind of perspective I bring to the book.
All right, thank you very much. Are we, all right, yeah. Thank you for being willing, candidates. Are we ready? We have our phones ready. We're waiting for the QR code.
Ready, it's going up.
Yeah.
Smart move. You're not, it's.
What again?
Okay,
Let me try. Okay, guys.
so let me give you a little instruction here. Continue your voting. As you've heard, a senator needs to receive at least 21 votes to be elected. So if there are 2 senators that receive at least 21 votes, the election will be done. And those 2 senators would be elected to the executive committee. If there are not 2 senators that receive at least 21 votes, then we will do a second ballot, same seats, but we'll do a second ballot. No run, it would be if 1 senator receives 21 votes and 2 don't, that senator will become member of the executive committee and we'll have a second ballot for the remaining 2. Which would be kind of a run. And I didn't know any of these things before I joined Senate. Now I know all this stuff.
My game.
We have 33.
Why do you wait? Can I just say something?
Yes, go
But
ahead.
I really appreciate, I want to give my thanks to, Quorum and the Division of Administration, because they're staying on. Just because the division hasn't done their election, and they're waiting for somebody else to come back, so the senators and the Division of Administration have agreed to stay on.
To continue.
Until November, so I think it's something that we have to say thank you to them. They want to be represented and they want to be here, so I think it's a good,
Yeah.
it's a good example for everybody to say, okay, I have other things to do, but I won't let, the Senate without the representation of my area or my division, so
Great.
thank you for that.
Yeah, okay, so.
And the same for Matt, who ran the elections lately and then elected finally Lakshmi as a senator. So the same
You are
thing,
the
they
senator.
sent people, she came as an alternate and finally she was elected as a senator. We're welcome her.
Great, thank you, Lakshmi. We gotta make that note. Lakshmi, did Max elect an alternate?
Sandra's the alternate.
Sandra's the alternate, yeah, that's got it.
This visuals.
Sounds good.
I think that is. Yeah. Oh, I put that today. Yeah, I'm part of like this is. But yeah, it really, so there's literally no, well, there are.
Right. Right.
So I.
And they'll say.
No, I think they will to the size of that. I keep
I be there really early at 8. With time, like I get out at 10. I get up to the today. Results are I hate, sometimes I'll be out like, I look how I was walking, I'm like, I'm really so good, and I'm like,
Okay, so we have the results for the executive, at-large executive, number of votes cast, 34, number of, necessary for election is 21. First candidate who received 25 votes is Jeannie Buckley Lockhart, 25 votes. Candidate Lou Caldeo was 33 votes and candidate, the last candidate, Anthony Pappas, with 20 votes. 23. Luke is 23, yeah. So 25 for Jeannie, 23 for Luke, 20 for Anthony.
Which means that Jeannie and Luke have been elected
As the two,
as the
at
two.
large.
Executive. All right. Get ready. And Anthony, thank you for running as a poll with us and for the asking your advice.
I think Anthony's our winner.
I think you're right. And, so Luke and Jeannie, get ready for more emails from me. Not that. But sorry. All right, students, we are also electing 2 students for the executive committee. And I am now opening up for nominations. You may self-nominate or nominate someone else. Are there nominations for students for executive committee? Mehdi?
Can I nominate Jumpin and Lynn?
Jeffine and Jolly?
And Lynn, yeah.
And Lynn, okay. Jolly or Lean, which do you prefer?
Jordan.
Jolly, okay. And Lee, so would you hold up your name
Yeah.
placards? So then, and
Okay.
Jamie is gonna hold up your name badge, Justin, yeah. Do you accept the nomination? Yeah, yeah, okay. Are there other nominations for, executive committee from among the students? No? Okay, sure. The nominations are closed. Justin and Jolly, would you each just tell us why, something about yourself, maybe what your major is, what year you were in, and why you're interested in serving on the executive committee of the Senate? But tell them.
I'm Arshaful Jaffin and my major is political science and this is my first semester. And like for this position, like I have served many leadership from my country, but here as senator is a very first like experience. And already chairperson told us that for this position we have to give extra time and we have to show like for the meeting and well the main thing is we have to give more time, so I think I can like I can give and for the emails and like yeah, that's it, yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you, Justin. Dolly.
So my name is Jolly, so this is my second semester, but however, I have many experience like research, internship, or volunteer on computers. So the very abundant experience to improve myself and let me to meet everyone right now. So I'm passionate about like the community with different students and then different way point and to broaden my horizon. And also I'm passionate about like the change some of the discrimination in all forms. So I don't understand why some like the negative behavior of little people will be magnified by the media or by someone that I don't understand and don't hope to see. I want to create like the environment like the all the voice is respected and will be the value like this. And when it comes to myself, like so the problem solving, so like I prefer like find the solution rather than to the excuse or reason of the problem. So yeah, I hope I think this experience will also help me to myself and thank you for all your give me your valuable information.
Thank you, Justin. So. Ballot ready?
Yes. Nice interlude, right?
Little music while we wait.
Oh, you're gonna. Oh, okay.
You went down to. Not much strokes. Other than that. That was the first thing, so that's like, even very big, like, he wanted, he wanted like big bubble cars. It was just like, he wanted to slap it and put it right away.
They are.
Yeah. And he would, and take a promise, but he wouldn't. He would communicate something very committed, that's crazy. I was in the next grade, like, those are my.
And speech person. I have.
And our midterm.
My students do it.
Oh, President.
It kind of felt like it's like,
Everybody, so in, so for the executive positions for the future, number of votes cast, 34. Number of ballots required for the election, what's the number? Thank you. So both, Jerry and, Jackman received 34 each, so yes.
Yeah. Actually, let me interrupt you to say it concludes our elections using Microsoft Forms. It does not conclude our elections overall. We also have the Committee on Committees.
For the executive committee.
What? Oh, yes. For the executive committee, that concludes the elections. I am going to, I'm gonna tell, so you newly elected members of the executive committee, our next meeting is Monday, November 4th. And I will send you the calendars. So, Monday, November 4th for the executive committee. Oh, just the executive committee, 3:30 to 5 on Zoom. 3:35 on Zoom, Monday, November 4th. I'll send you the calendar with the other meetings. You can anticipate that they will be like the Monday in the week before a Senate meeting. Okay. The Committee on Committees.
Yeah, oh, nice man.
Are you ready? The Committee on Committees is a weird name for the committee whose responsibility it is to make sure that all the other Senate committees have enough staff, that they have their membership. So they help to recruit members for the other committees. Our governance plan says 7 members, at least 2 students on that committee. So that committee it did not do much in the last couple of years because we have struggled to have a chair for that committee. But usually one meeting a month, there might be, it's not a very busy committee, but it's a committee that can work to identify members to join, people to join the other Senate committees. That's its responsibility. Is there anything else involved in the Committee on Committees? If those,
When I was on it, we were also talking about how to increase the visibility of the Senate and, which is great, the benefits of being on the Senate.
yeah, so publicizing Senate as well. So that is the task of this committee. It needs 7 members. It needs 2 students. And so I'm looking for nominations. It will not be a secret ballot. It will be a voice vote if we have candidates. Are there nominations for the Committee on Committees?
I'd like to still be a member.
Elizabeth would like to be a member. Thank you, Elizabeth. Kelly, right? Thank you, Kelly. Kelly Lee, student senator. Lee is your last name? No, Levy. Levy. Kelly Levy. Elizabeth Strike. I'm over Jiten. Yeah, Jiten, and hold up your name placard. Jiten, how do you say your last name? Taman. Jiten Taman. So that's 2 students. And one. We have 2 students. We could have more than 2 students, but we also need, I mean, because most of the committees are staffed with faculty and staff. Many committees call for have a student or 2 members as well, but it's especially need for faculty staff. Are there others who are interested in doing this work and joining nominations for Committee on Committees?
They're all in your agenda.
Yeah.
So, hold on. All right. Do I need to start arm twisting?
Do you want to do this? No, it's. Yeah. Like, you know, something, you know.
Still waiting for nominations for the Committee on Committees. Elizabeth cannot do the work with. You want to nominate Anthony? Is Anthony gonna? Anthony's not gonna. Good try, Randy. I appreciate the effort.
Who else?
Marie. Odin? Odin's gonna join, Odin, nominate yourself, right? Thank you.
I can manage.
Odin, thank you. Odin, remind me of your last name.
Right.
Right, that's what I thought.
You could be awesome.
Odin Wright is currently the alternate center for adjunct faculty, but is serving as a senator because, yeah, we don't see the senator still. Thank you for being here so much. So we have 2 faculty and staff members, 2 students. We need a couple of more. It would ideally at least 2 more non-student nominees. Patricia's done doing her job recruiting. Yeah, Patricia's.
Have a small but powerful.
Your first task is electing a chair. Elizabeth, would you like to be chair? Yes, there's no, okay, that's, so we could have a small but powerful committee as long as that committee can do its work.
Okay.
Patricia, are you trying to recruit Thomas? Try to recruit Tom. Thomas, you'd be great on this committee.
How much?
What? That's not it.
I'll tell you.
Okay, Thomas, because you're really great.
No, it's for now.
It's a 10-year commitment.
It's 1 year. It's 1 year. Uh,
Good try, former members here.
We just told them they were full time.
Okay, so we have Elizabeth Strike, Thomas Honoroto, Odin Wright, Kelly Levy, Jitin Taman. That is 5 members. It's enough, it can work. Your first, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Oh, no, nobody's opposed. Everybody, applause for appreciation. Thank you. All right, so your committee, very briefly, after this meeting, your first task is to elect a chair. So before you leave, just get together really quick. Also, students are going to get together. This should be very short. And then that chair is just responsible for organizing meetings, emailing the group, keeping track of the group, and then reaching out to the committees to see what vacancies they have and what help they need filling vacancies. And that is the end of our elections. Thank you, and Jamie, thank you so much for helping us with the Microsoft Forums. You're way better than counting paper ballots. Okay, what's left on our agenda are committee reports. So, and I am going to go through these quickly. As now and in the future, if a committee chair has no report, you don't need to come to the Senate meeting, but just let me know if there's a report. So we don't need to hear from every committee at every meeting. Just if there is a report to be shared. The Committee on Committees will, after this meeting, have a new chair, so it will no longer say vacant on there. They are the first item, and they have nothing to report because they've just been formed. Academic Standing Committee, Katrina, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, the academic standing committee, invitation to the meeting on Monday, November 18th, from 2:30 to 3:30. And we'll have more information sent out with the certain date. So yeah, we have a meet and greet coming up.
Coming up, what date again?
November 18th, from 2:30 to 3:30.
To find out about the work of the committee?
Actually, it's gonna be, so a meet and greet, so it's gonna meet us, and a little bit about policies, thinking.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you. Committee on Campus Affairs.
Nothing to report this.
No. All right. Committee of Faculty, Lakshmi has just been elected the chair of that committee. Thank you. Committee on Professional Development.
Hello, yes. Sorry, I missed your chat, but I'm here. The only thing I have to report is that we're having our semester meeting on November 12th at 1 p.m. For anybody that would like to join, I'll put the link to the meeting in the chat.
Rich, all of you can click on the link if you are in the Zoom, but otherwise we will share, we'll make sure, and the meeting is a Zoom meeting. Go ahead.
It's on November 12th, and I'll put that in the chat too, November 12th at 1 o'clock.
November 12th at 1 o'clock. If you want more information, email Derek or me, and I can pass that along to you. Budget and Finance Committee. Any report?
No. Yes, I mean.
Busy with many things.
What's that?
You've been busy with many things.
No, but we met and then we got, well, Roland is there, so he can help me, because he's on the committee too.
No, but you can do that better.
We invited the person who takes care of the auxiliary funds. Yes, that's the most important part. The auxiliary funds, we got a report on there, on the budget.
Would you inform the students or any
auxiliary funds are monies that the college earns through the cafeteria, vending machine, the swimming pool, parking lot. As it turns out, over the years and before, that money usually was helping to do other things on campus. The problem with that money is that it's way, way down. because as you can see, the revenues from the cafeteria are almost non-existent. Revenues from the parking, the little parking lot that was in the back, they bailed out, so that revenue is not there anymore. So it's dwindling, which means it's not in itself an issue, except that that money used to be used to sort of compensate other things on campus, and now we don't have it. So that's about it. They're looking at ways, there's improvement in the swimming pool, so we may see, more money coming in the swimming pool, but otherwise, parking, cafeteria, it's just not down. Vending machines, I think it's the same thing. Vending machines are down, because there are fewer students on campus, so not that many selling of these items on campus. So that was the big, I think, right, Roman? That was our. And then in terms of finances, the school is okay for another, each time we push it back, so we're in 2024, so 2025, 2026 probably will still be okay because we have leftover money that was from the COVID era that the school really managed to sort of save and not spend all. So now we can draw on that money to compensate for our deficit. But another year and a half or so, and then that's it. We won't have that money as a little cushion. So, we're good. Hopefully with enrollment up, maybe, other money's coming in, we'll see. But for now, collection rate is up. The school is doing very, very well with its collection rate. So not many outstanding before, and each year they up the collection rate, and then it works. We're getting more money for.
So a collection rate is when students don't pay their tuition or finally do pay their tuition. There was during COVID, a lot of students stopped paying tuition. And so then the collection rate on tuition was poor.
Yeah, and so now it's much better, but that's it. So the revenues, it's going to be okay for another year or so, and then we'll see where we go.
And I heard recently, this is only indirectly related to the budget. I heard in my role in cabinet, I got an email from President Adams that said LaGuardia has moved into the #1 spot among all CUNY schools for increasing enrollment. So enrollment is up 12% this year over last year, and new senators and students, during COVID and even starting before, enrollment was declining, and that makes big budget problems for the college. So that it's coming back up is great. So thank you, Patricia. And Committee of Staff and Alumni, Colonel, so do you have anything to report?
Well, I have nothing. We have a meeting next Monday, the 28th.
Meeting next Monday, so that is all faculty, or all staff and alumni senators are part of that committee. Committee of Students, I hope you are meeting next because you need to elect your chair, so we'll have a chair of the Committee of Students. And then these committees, I don't think their chairs are here. The co-chair of the IT Advisory Committee happens to be here. Jamie, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, actually, since I'm here, let's get to it. So just a couple of things. There's a new software called QList that assists folks who don't have an FLID. So some of the folks in I believe in adult and continuing ed. So if anyone is interested in learning about that, talk to Bill in IT. Also, something that I think a lot of folks are interested in, Brightspace updates. So we will begin using Brightspace in fall 2025, and the recruitment of faculty to train faculty and staff and students is beginning right now. It's actually, I think it's technically completed. So every department has faculty trainers basically who will be getting trained from CUNY Central and from the CTL and other kind of the Brightspace team directly.
Students, Brightspace is taking the place of Blackboard.
Yeah.
You've heard?
Yeah, we know.
Okay, good, yeah.
Payment of training.
Yeah, so there are trainings being offered by CUNY, and there's workshops and stuff like that you can go to that are online as well. So there are some current trainings, but there'll be more targeted trainings that will start in January 2025. So keep updated. I'll keep you all updated on kind of that schedule and the details of when those more detailed and department-specific trainings begin, but again, that should be January 2025. There's also gonna be an online resource site for all of the Brightspace info and for Brightspace trainings, and there will be in-person and online trainings also. So again, there's campus-wide trainings happening currently, and community-wide, I should say, and then there will be more specific LaGuardia and more specific to your department, starting up this spring.
Great, thank you so much, Julie.
Oh, and for the students, I'm so sorry,
Oh, yeah.
I forgot, there's one more thing. Student-specific communication, will be sent out in the spring as well, in the beginning of the spring semester. So you guys will also have some trainings. There's gonna be 2 self-paced student courses offered, and you can take them online over the next few months. So keep an eye on your emails as well and tell everybody. Yeah, that's it for you.
Elizabeth?
What's the ID system for a student's call?
Yes, it's, oh, sorry. Someone else start to say something? No, QUELESS, it's spelled QUEUELESS.
Thank you.
QUELESS, like a line, yeah, like there's no lines, it's QUELESS. Like what Netflix has, but the opposite.
It's letter Q L E F A.
Is it really?
Yes.
No, okay, well then I was given the wrong spelling, like someone who should know better will not be named. But, okay, just kidding, it's just the letter Q and then less.
That's
All
so
right,
much
thank you.
easier.
But it stands for Q, okay, maybe there's that, there was some confusion.
Yeah.
Less is.
Provided the phonetic.
Yeah, I didn't sound it out properly, maybe.
All right, thank you for that information, Julie. I am, Senate Assessment and Review Committee, any updates? All right. And then, the Senate Executive Committee is gonna talk about if we want a new Senate representative on the advising council. That will be a question. I just made a note for our next executive committee meeting. Jeannie has been serving in that role and is not able to now, so, so that ends our committee reports. Yes, Patricia.
Committee on the election, I just want to
Oh, yeah.
mention one thing, is the number of votes. So if some of you in this room voted, it's great, but next election, please encourage your colleagues to vote, because the at-large elections, we have what, like 100 and some votes, over like 700 people listening now, so the rate of participation is really, really low on the at-large.
Thank you.
Election emails go to the other part of your mailbox.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
There's no way for it to go to the focus,
I mean.
because folks mentioned that because it was going to other, which is almost like a junk mailbox that people miss.
Well, the thing is that we can do one vote, I think, on your email, so we can merge them, yeah, you can merge your focus and other.
But why would we wanna do that?
I understand, but
Yeah.
the thing is that I sent like 3 emails, we reminded people.
I got it. I hope.
Let me ask you all, when you receive your Senate invitation to the Senate with the agenda, but with all the other materials, does it go to your other, or does it go to your?
Oh, no, okay, let's focus.
Because it's named, but the links that we send for the at-large, we have absolutely no way to send the emails from the at-large from our emails ourselves, because there are way too many people. When we did it with Surratt, we used to do this. It means copying and pasting all the addresses on the email itself. And then at about that many emails, it tells you it's too many, so you can't do it. And we don't have a group on email that says at large, blah, blah, blah. So we can't do it. So the way we do it is we send it through Gina, through, they're the ones sending those emails. And so it goes where it goes. But I mean, I can check with Gina to say where it goes. But it's just the system doesn't allow us to do that targeted email. It just can't do it.
Why not to make a group?
Yeah, it would take making a group, but.
I know,
that's-
and
Yeah,
you know,
Why not?
yeah, exactly. And so, but it means making a group that you have to change every year because the employees are not the same. So
Yeah.
it's a whole thing
Yeah.
to do that. And so, I mean, I know with Gina, that's what we found as the easiest.
That's right.
Last year, there were confusions, people that.
I am gonna, Anthony, last word on this, and then it's worth maybe talking and thinking about more, but not with everybody.
Just a note on that, I mean, I know in the past, you know, we used to have, that stuff used to go out to everyone and everyone would see when elections were happening. I think what we should do in the future is at least send something out to everyone saying the elections are going on, because like in my case, as civil service, you know, I couldn't vote in any of these elections, so I never knew who the candidates were, I never saw it going out, I never saw the results. So if we send that out college-wide to say, hey, we're having an election, at least, you know, I would know and I can say, hey, you know, to my colleagues, did you vote? Did you vote? You know, like, so we can help spread the word that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Just, you know, just as a
But
note in the
it's the
future, we
same
should do
thing,
that.
the college-wide email, I can't send it.
You could
But
send it to
there's
the
a way to
same,
do all employees, at least to say the election's going on. I, you know, I understand what you're saying, the ballot we can't do, but. You know, just when you're, you know, just in the future, when you do that, also send something out to everyone so that we all know that the election is going on.
sounds good. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Patricia. I'm sorry I skipped you. I thought there was no election news, but it's worth saying. All right, there's no unfinished business that I know of. Any new business? I think everyone may offer new business. If you have something you would like Senate to consider, but probably start within your constituency committee first before raising it to the level of Senate. All right, and any announcements? Then on that note, the Senate meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody, and congratulations to those newly elected.
Better, that's how it is. You get from all to the end.
Oh, you want to stay?